The battlefield was silent. Smoke rose from the broken buildings. Ashes covered the ground like snow. The war between humans and the Zyrene species had ended just 1 hour ago. The human army had won. But the cost was heavy. Thousands had died. Both human and alien. Now, only silence remained. Sergeant Cole walked through the ruins. His boots crushed broken metal and stone. He was a tall man with cold eyes, trained to follow orders. He held his rifle tight, scanning the area for survivors. Behind him, a few soldiers followed, all tired and covered in dirt. They were ordered to find any remaining aliens and eliminate them. A faint sound reached Cole's ears. He stopped, raised his hand, and listened. It was like a soft whimper. Almost too quiet to notice, he turned toward a collapsed building. Something was there, hidden under the rubble. He walked closer, his gun ready. With a few careful steps, Cole reached the broken wall. He pushed aside a metal sheet, and then he saw her, a tiny alien girl. No more than 6 years old, her skin was light blue, her eyes large and glowing with fear. She was shaking, her body covered in dust and small cuts. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked up at Cole and whispered, "Please, don't kill me." Cole stood still. His finger was on the trigger. His heart beat faster. Behind him, another soldier shouted, "Just do it, Sarge. She's the enemy." But Cole didn't move. He looked at the girl again. She wasn't holding a weapon. She wasn't a threat. She was just a scared child. Memories flashed in his mind, his own daughter, who had died 2 years ago in a rebel attack. The way she used to hide behind him during loud storms. The way she cried when scared, just like this little alien girl. Cole lowered his weapon. He knelt down slowly. The girl flinched, afraid he would hurt her, but he spoke gently. "It's okay. Not going to harm you." His soldiers looked at each other, confused. One of them whispered, "Is he serious?" Another said, "She's not even human." Cole ignored them. He reached out his hand toward the girl. She hesitated, then slowly placed her tiny hand in his. Her fingers were cold and shaking. Cole picked her up carefully. She weighed almost nothing, like a feather. The girl looked into his eyes and asked, "Why? Why didn't you shoot me?" Cole didn't answer right away. He looked around, then whispered, "Because I've done enough killing." Suddenly, a red light blinked on his armor. A signal from HQ. "Report, did you find any survivors?" He tapped his cum and replied, "Negative, no signs of life here." He had just lied to command. His team stared at him, shocked. One soldier stepped forward. "Sarge, what are you doing? This is treason." Cole stood up, the girl in his arms. He looked at them and said, "She's a child. I'm not killing a child." The youngest soldier lowered his weapon slowly, but the others looked uneasy. Cole walked past them without waiting for permission. The girl rested her head against his shoulder, eyes still wide. She had never expected a human to spare her. They reached their ship. Cole signaled the others to follow, but no one moved. He turned around and said, "You don't have to agree, but I'm taking her with me." The ship door closed behind him. Inside, he placed the girl on a seat and gave her water. She drank with both hands like she hadn't had anything in days. Then she looked up and said, "Thank you." Cole nodded. But he knew what he was doing was dangerous. If command found out, they'd arrest him or worse, but he didn't care. Something inside him had changed. This wasn't just about orders anymore. The screen on the ship flashed again, a message from Earth. All remaining aliens are to be eliminated. No exceptions. Cole stared at the message. Then at the girl. She was already asleep, curled up like a kitten. He turned off the screen. The silence in the ship was deep, but in Cole's mind, a storm had begun. He had just made a choice that would change everything. He didn't know it yet, but the entire galaxy was about to be shocked by what one human decided to do. The engines of the small ship hummed softly. Inside, the dim lights flickered as Cole sat in silence. The alien girl slept quietly on the bench, her tiny chest rising and falling slowly. She looked peaceful now, but outside, the universe was not at peace. Cole's hands trembled slightly as he held the flight controls. He had made a decision no soldier was supposed to make. He had spared an alien, a living symbol of the enemy. Worse, he had lied to command. He had crossed a line. And there was no turning back. His mind was at war with itself. One side screamed, "You're a soldier, follow orders." The other whispered, "You're human, do what's right." And between those voices, the girl's soft thank you still echoed. A sudden ping broke the silence. A new message appeared on the screen. "Command reviewing battle footage. Report to Central immediately." Cole's jaw tightened. They were watching. They would. No soon, he had to move fast. He reached for the communicator, but stopped midway. What would he even say? "I found a child and saved her. They'll understand." No, they wouldn't. To them, a Zyrene was a threat, even a child. He couldn't trust them. Not yet. Suddenly, a soft voice broke the silence. "Are you going to give me back?" To them, Cole turned, surprised. The girl was awake, sitting up, her eyes serious and wide. He shook his head. "No, I'm not." She looked down at her hands, then whispered, "They'll come for you." Cole sighed. "I know." The girl moved closer. "Why did you save me?" "You had no reason to." Cole paused, staring out into space through the ship's small window. "I once had a daughter," he said slowly. "She was just like you, brave, quiet, curious." He smiled for a moment. Then the smile faded. "She died in a blast caused by this war. I promised myself I wouldn't lose who I am." "Not completely." The girl nodded. She didn't speak again. But something changed in her eyes. She no longer looked at Cole with fear. She saw him now as something different. Not a monster, but a protector. A loud beep shook the moment. Red lights flashed on the dashboard. Cole cursed under his breath. A patrol ship was approaching, human and fast. They must have tracked his heat signature. Too late to run, too early to hide. He pushed the girl behind the seat. "Stay down, don't move, no matter what," he whispered. She obeyed without question. His training kicked in, fingers flying across the controls. He switched off the main power, making the ship look dead. Then he put on his helmet and opened the hatch, stepping outside. The patrol ship hovered above, its spotlight blinding. A voice echoed through a speaker. "Sergeant Cole, state your cargo." He raised his hand, just returning from sweep. "Duty, no cargo." "Then why did you change your route?" The voice snapped. "Ship malfunction." Cole lied. "Want to inspect it?" There was silence. Then a hiss. The enemy, not from outside, from inside his own ship. A small voice had coughed the girl. The patrol ship locked onto him instantly. "Unidentified life form detected. Open your cargo hold." Cole's heart dropped. They had heard her. He had seconds to decide. His hand moved slowly toward his sidearm. He had a choice. Surrender the girl and maybe live, or protect her and become a traitor, hunted by his own people. He closed his eyes for one moment, then opened them, filled with fire. "I'm not giving her to you," he said clearly. There was a long pause. "You're outnumbered," the voice warned. Cole smirked. "Then you'd better bring more," in one fast motion. He grabbed the emergency launcher and fired a smoke shell into the air. The area filled with thick gray mist. He dove back into the ship and sealed the doors. "Hold on," he shouted. The girl held tight to the seat as the ship roared to life. Cole smashed the warp button. The ship jumped into hyperspace. Vanishing in a blink, behind them, the patrol ship screamed alerts. "Alert command! Cole has gone rogue. He's harboring a Zyrene. He must be stopped." But Cole didn't hear any of it now. His ship flew through the stars at dangerous speed. He had made his choice, not as a soldier, but as a man. And the universe had just lost control of the story. The stars stretched like white lines across the black sky. Cole's stolen ship tore through hyperspace, engines screaming in protest. Inside, sparks flew from a broken panel. The ship wasn't built for this kind of speed. Cole gripped the controls. Sweat on his brow, he looked back at the girl, who sat buckled in, eyes wide with fear. "We can't go back now," he said, voice steady. "They'll hunt us." She didn't speak. Instead, she pulled out a small, crystal-like device from under her sleeve. It glowed softly in her tiny hand. Cole raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" "My people's core," she whispered. "It holds memories, maps, power, everything." Cole blinked. "You've been holding that this whole time." She nodded. "It's why they want me, not just because I'm alive, but because I carry this." Suddenly, warning lights flashed red. "Engine failure." The system voice called out, "Critical damage, destination unknown." The ship began to shake violently. Cole shouted, "Hold on," as they crashed out of hyperspace. The ship spiraled toward a gray-green planet below, through thick clouds past mountains that glowed with strange light. They hit the surface with a loud crash, sliding across wet rock until the ship finally stopped. Smoke filled the cockpit. Cole coughed, blood at the edge of his mouth. "You okay?" he asked. The girl nodded, bruised but alive. He forced the door open. Outside, strange plants breathed mist into the air. The sky was purple, the ground soft and humming. Cole looked around and muttered, "Where the hell are we?" The girl stepped beside him, holding the glowing core. "We're on Zarel," she said. Cole turned sharply. "Zarel? That's restricted space. Humans don't come here." She looked up, because they're afraid of it. Cole scanned the area with his visor. Nothing on radar, no life signals, but something didn't feel right. The planet was alive, not just with creatures, but with something deeper, older. Every breath of air felt like it was watching them. He turned back to the ship. "We need to fix communications and send a false signal. They track us here, we're finished." They worked together, in silence, patching cables, sealing broken systems. Cole was surprised how quickly she learned. She wasn't just some child. She was smart, focused, and brave. As they worked, she asked softly, "Why do your people hate mine?" Cole paused, then answered, "Because we were told lies. That your kind was planning to destroy us. That you were monsters." She looked down. "My people only wanted to protect something sacred." Cole asked, "Protect what?" She replied, "A power too big for war." Suddenly, the ship's scanner beeped. Movement, not human, not alien, but ancient. Cole grabbed his weapon and stepped outside. In the distance, something moved in the fog. It wasn't walking, it was floating. A dark shape with glowing lines pulsing like veins. The girl gasped, "It's one of the Guardians." Cole pointed his gun. "Friend or enemy?" She shook her head. "Neither. They protect the secret of this world. If they see the core, they'll test us." The figure drew closer. No face, no voice. Just a presence that filled the air like thunder. It stopped in front of them. And suddenly, the ground glowed in circles around their feet. A voice entered Cole's mind, not spoken, but placed directly inside. "The child holds what was never meant for war, and the man carries a heart that still remembers peace. One of you will live, the other must choose." Cole froze. What kind of test is this? The girl grabbed his hand, her voice shaking. "It means one of us may have to die for the other to pass." Cole stepped forward. "Then take me, let her live." The light around them pulsed brighter. The Guardian didn't speak. Instead, it faded slowly into mist. The glowing rings faded. Silence returned. Cole turned to the girl. She was crying. You were really going to give your life? He nodded. You're the future. I'm just a man trying to fix one mistake. Suddenly, the core glowed brighter. It lifted into the air and scanned Cole's face. Then, it dropped gently into the girl's hands. She looked confused. It accepted you, she whispered. Cole raised an eyebrow. What does that mean? She smiled faintly. It means it trusts you. In the distance, the stars began to shift. Human ships were coming faster than before. Cole looked up, jaw tight. They found us. He turned to the girl. No more running. We make our stand here. She looked up at him, brave now, glowing softly in the strange light, and said, Then let's show them what real strength looks like. The sky above Zarel cracked with thunderless lightning, but no rain fell, just silence and the sound of roots shifting beneath the earth. The planet felt alive, but not in the way trees live. It was like the ground breathed, like the stars above were watching them. Cole stood at the edge of a massive canyon. The ship was hidden behind a curtain of strange vines. The girl stood beside him, her crystal core glowing brighter than ever. Cole scanned the canyon below. It wasn't just a canyon, it was a scar. A deep wound in the planet's surface that pulsed with a dull red light. What is this place? He asked. The girl answered softly. This is where it began. Where my people found the first guardian, where the power was born, and where it was hidden. Cole took a breath. They had come here to hide. But it was becoming clear. Zarel wasn't just a hiding place. It was a test. And now the test had truly begun. They descended the canyon carefully. The deeper they went, the quieter the world became. Even the wind refused to follow. Glowing plants lit their way, growing from the walls like veins of light. Cole noticed carvings in the stone, strange symbols, spirals, hands reaching toward stars. But one carving made him stop. A human figure standing next to a Zyrene child. Ancient, impossible. How could this be here? He whispered. The girl answered. Because your kind has been here before. Cole stared at her. What do you mean? She placed her hand on the wall. The humans think they arrived late to the galaxy. But this place remembers, long ago, before wars, before the greed, humans were different. They were protectors. Cole shook his head. No one ever told us this. She nodded. Because someone erased the truth, your leaders feared what Zarel could unlock. As they reached the bottom of the canyon, a wide stone gate stood before them. It opened slowly, not by machine, but by thought. The moment the girl stepped forward, the stone responded. Inside was an underground chamber lit by floating lights in the center, a giant sphere pulsing with energy. The girl's crystal core floated from her hand and joined the sphere. Light exploded across the room. Cole stepped back, shielding his eyes. When the light faded, a tall, golden being stood before them. It had no face, only light. Its voice echoed directly into their minds. You have come far, child of peace, and you. Human, you carry both shadow and light. Cole raised his weapon, unsure. The being raised a hand not to attack, but to show something. The chamber's walls shifted, turning into moving visions. He saw Earth's history, twisted by lies. He saw the truth about the Zyrene, not enemies, but ancient builders of balance. He saw the secret. The war wasn't started by fear, was started by those who wanted the power of Zarel. His legs weakened. He fell to one knee. I didn't. No, he said, his voice breaking. I believed everything they told us. The girl reached for his hand. Her touch was warm. Steady, you know now, she said, and that makes you different from the others. The being stepped closer. You have a choice, warrior of Earth. You can return to your people. Tell them what you've seen. Or you can protect the child and stay and learn the true path. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the canyon. Cole turned quickly. A tracking beacon had been planted on their ship. Human soldiers had arrived. They were already descending. The canyon walls, weapons drawn, eyes cold. Cole stood up. He looked at the being. "Can we fight them?" The being answered, "Only if you fight as who you truly are." Cole looked at the girl, then at his shaking hands, then back at the soldiers. He stepped in front of her and whispered, "No more running." The girl's crystal glowed again. But this time, it didn't just float. It spread. A shield of energy wrapped around them. The soldiers fired, but the blasts melted into light. Cole charged forward, not to kill, but to block. He shouted, "Stand down, they're lying to us." "She's not the enemy," but the squad leader growled, "You're the traitor," and raised his weapon. The girl stepped forward, her eyes shining like stars, and said, "Then it's time for the stars to remember." The ground shook, the canyon roared, and the ancient power of Zar-El began to awaken. The ground trembled beneath their feet. Dust and glowing ash rose from the canyon floor. Energy pulsed from the ancient chamber, swirling around Cole and the girl like a living wind. But the soldiers above kept coming, their guns raised, their orders clear: capture the alien, terminate the traitor. Cole didn't move. He stood like a wall in front of the girl, not with anger, but with something stronger. Conviction. He raised both hands, unarmed. "Listen to me," he shouted, his voice echoing across the walls. "She's not a threat. She's the key to saving everything." But no one lowered their guns. The squad leader, Captain Voss, stepped forward. His armor was marked with gold, his face hard like iron. "You've been fooled, Cole," he said. "She's manipulating you. Just like her kind did to Earth scientists years ago." Cole shook his head. "No, she's telling the truth. She showed me the memories. This war wasn't started by her people. It was started by us." Gasps came from behind the helmets. Voss narrowed his eyes. "You've seen visions." He mocked. "You think old ruins and glowing stones prove anything? They killed our people." Cole took a deep breath, then pointed to the ancient sphere still glowing behind him. "Because we tried to steal from them. We broke into Zar-El first. We wanted their healing force, their power. When they refused, we called them the enemy." The girl stepped forward slowly. She raised the crystal core, and it projected a hologram into the air. It showed a scene not from the future, but the past. Humans wearing old uniforms, entering sacred Zyrene temples, taking devices, destroying what they didn't understand. Then, lying to their own people, saying it was a defensive strike. Silence filled the canyon. Even the soldiers lowered their weapons a little. One whispered, "Is that real?" Captain Voss clenched his jaw. "Even if it's true," he growled, "that knowledge could tear the alliance apart. It would make humans look weak." Cole looked him straight in the eye. "No," he said, "it would make us honest. And maybe, just maybe, it would make us better." Voss raised his gun. "Then you've chosen your side." Cole didn't flinch. "I've chosen truth." A shot rang out, but it wasn't Voss. Another soldier had fired, at Voss. He collapsed, stunned but alive, the one who fired. Removed her helmet, a young woman, eyes sharp with tears. "I had a brother who tried to make peace once," she said. "He died for it. I won't let his death be used as a lie." She turned to her squad. "Stand down," she said. "They're not the enemy." One by one, the soldiers lowered their weapons, not all, but most. The girl stepped forward, trembling. Her voice, small but clear, "If you want to end the war," she said, "then help me finish what my people began." Cole asked, "What do you mean?" She held up the crystal, now glowing so bright it lit the entire canyon. "This core doesn't destroy," she said. "It heals, but only when freely given. Never stolen, and now it needs a human. Someone who chose peace." She held it out to Cole. He hesitated, then slowly reached out and placed his hand on it. The moment his skin touched the crystal, a wave of light spread across the canyon walls. The earth shook, not with violence, but with release. It was as if the planet sighed in relief. The ancient being from before reappeared. "The truth has been accepted," it said. "The bond is now complete." The core dissolved into light and entered Cole's chest. He gasped, falling to one knee. Visions flooded his mind. Galaxies, peace treaties, futures that were never allowed to happen. Then, stillness. He opened his eyes, glowing faintly. The girl knelt beside him. "You're not just human anymore," she said. "You're part of something older." From above, a new transmission crackled in the soldiers' earpieces. "Cole has gone rogue. Eliminate him and secure the girl." They looked at each other, unsure now, shaken. Cole stood slowly. He looked up at the sky, then at the soldiers. "Let them come," he said. "But this time, we fight with truth." The storm above Zar-El had changed color. What was once gray now glowed violet and gold, as if the sky itself was listening, watching, waiting. Cole stood at the canyon's edge, the girl beside him. The crystal's power now lived inside his chest. It pulsed with life, not as a weapon, but as a promise. Behind them, soldiers who had once called him a traitor now stood in silence. Changed, uncertain. In front of them, the real enemy was coming. From orbit, Earth's elite warships dropped. Like hammers, the lead ship split the clouds in half. Its wings crackled with energy. This wasn't a patrol. This was an execution team, sent by the ones in power to bury the truth forever. A voice boomed from their speakers. "Cole, surrender the alien child and stand down. Your actions have violated interstellar law." Cole pressed the side of his helmet. He broadcasted back, his voice calm but unshaken. "No. I've violated your lies, and I won't help you hide them anymore." The warships locked weapons. Dozens of black-armored soldiers jumped from the dropships. They landed hard on the rock, like falling shadows. Weapons ready. No hesitation. Cole turned to the girl. "You don't have to fight," he said, but she shook her head. "I do," she whispered. "My people gave me this gift, and you gave me a reason to use it." She stepped forward, her tiny feet touching the sacred stone. She raised her arms, and the canyon glowed with light. The ground responded. Zar-El itself woke up. Vines of energy wrapped around the rocks. Stone guardians rose from hidden chambers. The old power moved not to destroy, but to protect. The soldiers from Earth opened fire. Lasers shot through the wall. Air, but none reached the girl. The energy shield bent space around her. Every shot faded like smoke in the wind. Cole led the charge, not with rage, but with purpose. He didn't fire first. He gave them a chance. Some soldiers dropped their weapons and backed away. Others kept firing, trained too long to believe anything but orders. The canyon became a storm of light and sound. But it wasn't war. It was revelation. The girl's voice echoed through the air. But not in words. In memory, she projected visions into every soldier's mind, of Zyrene children playing under twin suns, of humans and Zyrene working together before it all went dark, of betrayal, of pain, and finally, of healing. One by one, helmets were removed. Eyes wide, mouths open, hearts cracking. Then a scream. The lead warship had fired a heavy plasma missile. It wasn't aimed at the girl. It was aimed at everyone. Cole saw it before anyone else. There was no time. He ran forward faster than he had ever moved. He tackled the girl and wrapped his body around her. The blast struck. Fire lit the sky. The canyon shook. The ground broke, and then silence. For a moment, nothing moved. Ash floated in the air. The world stood still. Then, light, pure. Golden light, not from the sky, from the girl. She stood up slowly. Cole's body lying still beside her. She looked down at him, tears glowing in her eyes. He had protected her again, and now she would protect him. She placed her hand on his chest. The light inside her flowed into him, not to heal his wounds, but to share her soul. And then he breathed. His eyes opened, alive, changed all around them. The soldiers had stopped fighting. They dropped to their knees. Not in surrender, in respect. The lead warship turned. Its commander had seen everything. He gave a silent signal, and the fleet pulled back. The girl helped Cole to his feet. He looked around, dazed. What happened? He asked. You? Gave everything, she said. So I gave it back, together. They stood at the edge of the canyon. The war had not ended in fire, it ended in truth. The stars above Zarel were no longer silent. They burned brighter now, as if something deep in the galaxy had shifted. And in the center of it all stood a human and a child who was never supposed to survive. Cole sat on a stone ledge near the canyon's edge, his armor cracked, his face tired, but his eyes calm. The girl sat beside him, her small hand still glowing with light. Below them, the battlefield was quiet. No one spoke. No one moved. The soldiers who had come to kill them now stood in silence. They had seen too much, heard too much, felt too much. And most of all, they had changed, above Earth's command. Ships floated in orbit, watching, waiting, still listening for a signal, one word from Cole, and they would send another wave, this time to erase everything. But Cole had other plans. He reached into his armor and pulled out a small device. A black cube with a blinking light. Are you sure? The girl asked softly. He nodded. They lied to the galaxy for too long. It ends today. He placed the cube on the ground, pressed a hidden switch. It unfolded like a flower. And a green beam shot into the sky. A broadcast, a message. Sent across the stars to every known colony, every station, every species. Then he began to speak. Not like a soldier, not like a traitor, but like a man who had seen the truth and refused to let it die. My name is Sergeant Cole Maddox, he said, his voice calm but strong. And everything they told us about the Zyrene was a lie. He told the galaxy about Zarel, about the healing force, the Guardians, stolen history, about the tiny alien girl who should have died in fear, but instead stood for peace. He showed them memory visions, the holograms, the sacrifice. He showed them the truth across the galaxy. Screens lit up. Pilots, teachers, engineers, leaders, all stopped what they were doing to listen. A child on a mining ship in Sector 9 whispered, "He saved her." A diplomat on a council ship covered her mouth in shock. A general looked down at his medals and said nothing. The reaction was instant. Some leaders tried to shut the signal down, but it was too late. The truth had already spread. People began to question, to protest, to awaken on Zarel. The broadcast ended. Cole exhaled slowly. "It's done," he said. But the girl looked up at him with worry in her eyes. "They'll still come for you," she whispered. "You broke their illusion, I know," Cole said, standing up. "That's why I'm not leaving." The soldiers behind him stepped forward, one by one. They placed their weapons on the ground. A quiet act of rebellion. A promise. "We stay too," one of them said. "This is worth protecting." The girl smiled softly, and then something beautiful began. The light from the canyon rose higher. The healing force, once buried in secret, now stretched into the sky like a ribbon. It didn't attack, it didn't burn, it called on nearby planets. Plants bloomed in seconds, old wounds healed. Creatures once hunted now rose from ashes. Zarel's power was no longer locked, it was free. And in the center of it, the girl stood, glowing with the force of her people, but also with something. Knew the strength of one human who chose compassion over conquest? Cole placed a hand on her shoulder. "You okay?" She nodded. "I think. We just changed everything," he smiled. Let's hope the galaxy is ready, in orbit. Earth's command finally responded. A shaky voice came through the comm. Cole, what do we do now? He didn't answer right away. He looked at the girl, then at the soldiers around him, then at the bright sky filled with change. And finally, he replied, now, you listen.